Are talking about thread cycle, life cycle, and thread schedular. A thread in Java at any point of time exit in any one of the following state. The threads is lies on only in one of the shown state at the instant. First one is active. Second one is a block waiting, time waiting, and terminated. Now we're talking about nav. Whenever a nav thread is created, it is the way always in the nav state. For a thread in the nav state, the code has not been run yet and thus has not begun as its execution. Nav, it is the nav thread. Now we're talking about active. When a thread invokes the start method, it moves from the nav state to the active state. The active state contains two state within it. One is runnable and other is running. Now we're talking about runnable. A thread that is ready to run is the run, then move to the runnable state. In the runnable state, the thread may be running or may be ready to run at any given instant of time. It is absolutely duty of thread scheduler to provide the thread to time to run. That is the moving the thread and running state. A program implementing multi-threading acquires a fixed slice of the time to each individual thread. Each and every thread runs for the short span of the time, and when that allocated time slice is over, the thread is valuably gives the CPU to the other thread so that the other thread can also run up their slice of the time. Whenever such a scenario occurs, all those threads that are willing to run, waiting of their turn to run and lie in the runnable state. If the runnable state there is a way where is the thread is lie. Now we're talking about the running. When a thread gets the CPU, it's move from the runnable to running state. Generally, the most common change in the state of the thread is runnables to running and again back to the runnable. Now we're talking about block and waiting. Whenever a thread is inactive for a span of the time, then either the thread is not block state or is in the waiting state. For example, a thread, let's say the name is A, when may want to print some data from the printer. However, at the same time, the other thread is other time means B thread is using the printer to print the same data. Therefore, the thread A has a wait for the thread B used to print. Thus, thread A is in the block state and A thread in the block state is enables to perform any execution and thus never consume any cycle of the center. And the processing unit means CPU. Hence, we can say that thread A remains idle until the thread scheduler reactivate thread A, which is the waiting or block state. When the main thread invokes the join method, then it said that main thread is in the waiting state. The main thread then the wait for the child thread to complete their task. When the child thread complete their job and notification is sent to the main thread, which again moves the thread from the waiting to the active thread. If there are lot thread in the waiting or a block state, then it is the duty of the thread scheduler to determine which threads to choose and which one of the to reject, and the chosen thread is given by the opponent to the run. Now we're talking about time waiting. Some time waiting for leads to starvation. For example, thread its name is A has entered the critical section of the code and is not willing to leave the critical section. In such scenario, another thread its name is B has wait for which leads to starvations. To avoid the such scenario, a time waited state is given to the thread B and thus thread slice to waiting state for the specific span of thread and not forever. A real example of the time waiting is given when is the invoked the sleep method on the specific thread. The sleep method puts the thread in the time wait state. After the times run out, the thread wake up and start the execution from the it left the earlier. Now we're talking about terminated, means end of the thread. The thread reaches the termination state because of the following reason: when the thread has finished its job, then it's executed or terminated normally. Abnormal termination, it's occurs when the some unusual events such as the unhandled exception or segmentation fault. A terminated thread means thread is no more in the system. In the other hand, the thread is dead and there is no way one of the respawn the thread. The implementation of the threaders in Java, one can get the current state of the thread using the thread method. The Java language thread state class of the Java provides the constant enum to represent the state of the thread. This is the topic of the Java. Thank you so much.